All right, let's talk about the top 10 head coaches in football. I should mention at the beginning of this, Kyle and I on the podcast, we gave our top 32 coach rankings where we kind of go draft style. But because of that nature of only having an hour to talk about all those players, all those coaches, you only get so much time, and we have our own list, so we kind of have to debate it. So figured I could make a video just strictly talking about my top 10 head coaches. Let's just get into the list. Number 10, I'm going John Harbaugh here, who, a lot of things the Ravens consistently do really well, right? They consistently, even with different coordinators coming and going, they consistently have a very well-coached defense. I think the offense, again, with different coordinators, has still consistently been very good in the Lamar Jackson era. Real consistency throughout. The biggest knock is, I think, a fair knock, which is the playoff performances just haven't always been there. And it feels like there's been a number of games where they were the better team and just couldn't find a way to win and kept beating themselves. Obviously, the Titans game from way back when they were the 1 seed, but also like even last year, those turnovers, maybe that's just Lamar Jackson's fault, but maybe it isn't. They kind of beat themselves. That Kansas City Chiefs conference championship game, the Ravens really probably should have won that game, but they had a lot of bad mistakes that cost them it. And so because of it, I think it's a fair knock. Still a great coach, still deserves to be top 10, but that's why he's just number 10. Number 9 is Mike Tomlin, who I have consistently put like top 3, I think every year I've had this channel, but I think I kind of have to finally knock him just because the offensive issues are real. And I would say that you look at the personnel, how much can you expect sometimes from this? But I do think there has been some, uninspiring offensive X's and O's throughout, and even the defensive X's and O's usually aren't spectacular. It's just like the team's just always so well prepared, and they really are, and he deserves a ton of credit for that, which is a big part of coaching, is that everyone seems to be locked in. They have a mindset to go out and get the right type of players that fit that system, all of that stuff. But ultimately, the results are the results. You consistently get the winning seasons, but don't do much else after that. I think it's fair to finally dock you some points here. Number 8, I'm going Dan Campbell, who, again, I think after this season, he's either going to be a lot higher or a lot lower, because the thing about Dan Campbell, what are the positives? Again, one of the all-time great leaders, definitely gets people to want to run through a wall for him. The fourth down decision-making is fantastic. Yes, sometimes it goes wrong, but far more often than not, the good outweighs the bad. So while you're never going to be perfect, to me, I think that when he's imperfect, you notice those imperfections more than if a coach punts once too often, right? That's just kind of how our brains work, because we're not used to seeing people go for it on fourth down the way he does, but he's very smart at that stuff. There are some, I don't want to say critiques, just question marks, which is how much of the Lions' success since he's been there has been the Aaron Glenn and the Ben Johnson combination, which those two are great coordinators, both got head coaching jobs, and both had been there for essentially as long as Dan Campbell has been. If Campbell can't fully replace those guys, are they going to struggle? Are they going to take a step back? If he can replace them and turns out he's just great at hiring coordinators, then he'll be a lot higher. If he can't replace them and turns out he just happened to have good coordinators propping him up, then he's going to fall a bit. That's just my question mark, and because of that, it's why I have him just at 8, even though I think there's a chance he's a lot better than that. Number 7, Kevin O'Connell, who, talk about great X's and O's. The Vikings have had potentially the best X's and O's these past couple of years. Last season, it was fantastic. You have the Brian Flores defense, which people kind of critique Brian Flores towards the end of the year, and in that not being able to scheme against the Rams, for example. But in my opinion, it's just the issue is Flores is great at dialing up blitzes and those disguises, but unfortunately, when you have a smart quarterback like Stafford, those don't really work out as well, and the team just wasn't good enough to, if you just sit back and play zone, to defend. I don't think there's a lot Flores could have done with the personnel against a smart quarterback, but he did what he could, and of course, we're not talking about him, we're talking about Kevin O'Connell, who did hire Flores, so he gets credit for that, but also just did a great job with the offense to the point where, you saw how well, Sam Darnold, a career journeyman, was able to play. Seems like a great situation for J.J. McCarthy to walk into. Number 6, I'm going Matt LaFleur of the Green Bay Packers, who every time I watch the Packers play, I'm just so impressed with how things get schemed up. And it helps that you have, well, they don't have a number 1 receiver necessarily. Maybe Matthew Golden will be that. It does help that they have a lot of receivers who can just run setup routes, run the system well, all of that stuff. But like, man, does that just work, right? The way they're able to scheme things open consistently offensively. The critique of LaFleur is that he hasn't always done a great job with defense, but I think lately the defense has done well. So once he's kind of fixed that issue, I don't know. I mean, I'm so impressed with his offense that that's why I have him here at 6. Because again, you think about someone like Dan Campbell, you have the question of, is he the reason why they're having the success? With LaFleur and O'Connell, their offensive coaching is a big part of why they've had the success that they've had. Number 5 is Nick Sirianni, who definitely has the question of, is he the reason why his team has had the success that they have had? But ultimately, you can't argue with results. In the past 3 seasons, they've made the playoffs every year. They've won the NFC Championship game twice in that stretch, and of course, just won the Super Bowl. I do think a lot of similar to Dan Campbell, when you make a 4th down decision that doesn't go well, everyone freaks out. When you make one that does go well, no one remembers it. So because of that, it tends to hurt you, even if it actually helps the team. It hurts how people view him. But the tush-push thing, that happened under him. The 4th down decision-making stuff, that happens under him and works. He hired Vic Fangio. He hired Kellen Moore, who now just got a job. So he's made the hirings that have worked. 2 years ago, it went horrible, right? It just did. Things fell off towards the end of the year. I was at that Tampa Bay playoff game when the Bucs beat the Eagles, and the Eagles looked like they didn't want to be there. They looked like they had given up. They looked like they were ready to book their vacations. That's a thing that's on his resume. But so is 2 Super Bowl appearances and a win. So because of that, yeah, he's top 5. Number 4, I'm going with another Super Bowl champion, Sean McVay, who won one a few years back with Matthew Stafford. Also, really impressive year here. One thing that McVay does a great job of is just developing these young players. The Rams have the mindset of, let's just draft like 14 players every year, or at least that's what they usually do. Draft 14 players every year, and then some of them are going to hit. But you have to be able to develop those guys. Puka Nacua being able to develop, right? That's something that has to happen. Obviously, we know the X's and O's are great. We know that him and Stafford are a great pairing. Defense hasn't always been great, which is weird because early on in his career, he was known for hiring great defensive coordinators. Hasn't fully worked out as of late. Hasn't been horrible, but hasn't fully worked out. But defense showed up in the Minnesota game, right? So there have been instances of it working out. Ultimately, yeah, really good coach. Not a lot of knocks with Sean McVay, to be honest. I'm kind of stretching to even come up with one with the defensive stuff because he's great. He's top 4 coach in the league. Number 3, I'm going to be on this hill probably till I die, and people will disagree, and fine. I just think Kyle Shanahan's the best offensive play caller in football. I just do. When I watch him, watch the 49ers, even last year, play, I'm just like, man, this team just consistently is able to scheme guys open. It just happens. It's happened everywhere he's gone, not just the 49ers. Always gets the most out of the personnel, and I know that the win-loss record isn't maybe what you would hope for, in my opinion, a top 3 coach in football, but I think that's largely due to injuries that, in my opinion, is not because his scheme gets guys killed. It's because the 49ers have made a conscious effort to go out and get players who have higher injury risk because they're usually cheaper and easier to get, and that's just the risk they run, is sometimes they all compile together and it doesn't work out. But ultimately, I mean, I think he's fantastic, and I think that the defenses are usually great with him as well. He tends to have that part down as well. So, yeah, I think he's great. Again, I think that the fourth quarter decision-making in Super Bowls is a bit overblown, which is also why I'm okay with putting him on the list, but you can disagree if you want to. Number 2, this is probably a hot take with Jim Harbaugh all the way up here at 2. You could talk me into, Shanahan or McVay above him, but I don't know. It just feels like right away being able to turn this team around. We all said with the Chargers, okay, listen, you're getting Jim Harbaugh. He's great at turning teams around, but, this is going to take some time. This is a rough situation. That team, without making too many major personnel decisions, going from the worst defense in the league to the best, and obviously he's, not just a defensive guy, but, that's That's impressive. The offense, Justin Herbert had maybe his best season last year. Sure, it kind of fell off in the playoffs, but he was fantastic in that year. Everything just clicked, and from a team that we all thought might be a mess, it was a mess the year prior, going to as good as it was, and we've seen him do this before. He nearly won a Super Bowl with Colin Kaepernick. I mean, there's a resume there. We just saw one of the most impressive coach teams last year. I'm willing to put him all the way up at 2. Maybe a hot take, but that's what I'm willing to do. And number 1, I'm going to Andy Reid, who I don't always just lock in at number 1, because I do think there are some critiques. I do think that you can look at some big game failures over the course of his career, certainly with Philadelphia, but even some with Kansas City. And the clock management stuff has never been the best. The fourth down decision making stuff has never been the best with Andy Reid. But in my opinion, he still is the best coach in football because again, the leadership aspect, the way that these teams are so well prepared, there is a standard in Kansas City, right? And also, I thought the X's and O's I thought it was maybe a banner year for him last year, where they did not have a great receiving core. Statistically, the worst receiving core to make the Super Bowl, in quite some time, being able to still get there largely due to his schemes and Mahomes executing, and they didn't have downfield passing, which you kind of need in 2025. You would think they were able to make it work without that. Like, it was so impressive. I mean, Kareem Hunt having this good year last year, because the run scheme is one of the most underrated aspects of Andy Reid's coaching. It was fantastic, and the defense, with Steve Spagnuolo, that works out very well as well. Again, you do get some credit for hiring the guy who coaches defense well. So, yeah, as a whole, I think Andy Reid deserves to be number 1. Those are my top 10 coaches in football. What do you think? What do you agree with? What do you disagree with? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from y'all. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.